Welcome back. So on Monday, we're going to publish an article called Top Amateur Nutrition. And what I wanted to do was just sort of set the scene for that article, as well as make my case for the number one mistake that I think most top amateurs and many pros make with regards to their nutrition. So let's shrink me down and move me out of the way. And this article builds on two series that I published across the summer. So the first is called the Burn series, and it's a 4-part series talking about using doubly labeled water to figure out my caloric burn. And I tested a high volume week as well as a low volume week. And I explain kind of the background, implications, how you can apply that information to your training. And then the other series that I published across the summer was the testing series, where I laid out protocols, explained what happens when you go into a lab, helped you interpret what those results are, and then explained some issues that you're going to bump into if you are a top amateur or competitive athlete, interpreting your data. We touch on energy burn rates in there. So I'm just going to leave that. So those two series are kind of important because I don't repeat myself too much in the article. I assume you've just sort of read that. Now, in the article that's coming up for you, I share that I have a burn rate that is between 3,500 calories a day and 4,000 calories a day. So that delta, 500 calories a day, the average day in those two studies, in the high volume study, my average was 3 hours of training a day. And in the lower volume study, I was only training 1 hour a day. Now, I'm about 170 pounds right now, about 78 kilos. And the difference of 2 hours a day of exercise for me would be expected to be somewhere, depending on how hard I'm going, between 1,000 and 2,000 calories of work. But the study only showed a difference of 500 calories. So when we manipulate our training, our output can adjust by more than our actual energy needs. And I link up some podcasts and I explain a bit more of the background behind that. But for our discussion today on this video, I just want to make that point to you, is that your energy needs are likely to vary less than your output. So if you're an athlete who is constantly adjusting their caloric intake based on output, particularly daily output, you might be underfueling yourself, particularly on your easy days, your easy weeks, and your low volume weeks. And what that may result in is putting yourself in an energy deficit. And what happens then is your recovery is going to be slowed, and other important systems in your body, such as your immune system, will be downregulated. You'll also notice, something I notice as a writer, is that my creativity is impaired. So if I'm low on energy or after a day that has a lot of output, it's almost like my brain, my thinking has been downregulated. So one of the things this article is hopefully nudging you to do is have a core level of nutrition. So that's why I wanted to have a look at what my burn rate was in the lowest training week of my year, so I could build my core nutrition around that baseline level. And then I know that even if I'm not training very much, I still need to be fueling. And another situation that many people bump into is not just lightening up on nutrition on their easier days or easier weeks, but an athlete will get sick. And as a result of the sickness, the athlete won't train. Well, if ever there was a time to fuel the immune system and for recovery, it would be when we were ill or run down. So you need to keep eating. Now, I've never run into that issue myself, mainly because if I'm sick and I'm not training much, I can be a little bit of an emotional eater. So it's easy for me to kind of keep going with the fueling in those situations. So bear that in mind. The article turns up November 4th on the website. I hope you find it interesting. And I hope it helps give you the confidence to fuel yourself a little bit better. In the article, we also give you some ideas on macro breakdown and some guidelines there in terms of how to build up your overall nutrition. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time.